the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy there greeting Donald Trump.
President Trump, sir, do you believe you can convince Vladimir Putin to end the war in Ukraine? Do you believe Putin is negotiating in good faith, sir? Do you believe, is Putin negotiating in good faith, sir? Thank you.
And the U.S. and Ukrainian president now gone into the White House, and the Ukrainian president just arrived about half an hour after he was meant to, and we heard some questions there from the press congregated outside when asking whether the President Trump thought Putin was negotiating in good faith. And no prizes for guessing what Volodymyr Zelensky's answer would have been to that particular question. So let's just go now to David Blevins, our U.S. correspondent, who's outside the White House now. So half an hour late, but now we have seen President Zelenskyy enter the White House greeted by Donald Trump.
Yes, another day on what has been a punishing schedule of a week for the President of the United States. It began in Israel and Egypt with him announcing that he had brokered peace there, and it is ending with him back at the table with another world leader, this time the Ukrainian one, hoping that he will be able to find a way forward. But things have dramatically changed in the last 24 hours. You will remember that on his way back from the Middle East earlier in the week, the President was floating the idea with reporters on Air Force One that he might consider giving Ukraine access to Tomahawk cruise missiles. But yesterday, after that 2.5-hour call with President Putin, their first conversation in 2 months, he had most definitely rode back from that position, saying he wasn't sure what the United States could do because they couldn't allow their own stocks of missiles to become depleted. That is the context in which this latest meeting between Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelenskyy is taking place. They're making their way inside as we speak. We're going to hear from them shortly, we understand. And of course, we're going to be reading the body language as much as listening to the words, because when these two get together, you're never quite sure how it's going to work out. It wasn't that terribly long ago, just back in February, that they had a very public falling out on camera here in this very building, when you will remember President Trump telling President Zelenskyy he didn't have the cards, and you'll remember the Vice President J.D. Vance telling him that he wasn't grateful enough for American military aid. Then they appeared to make peace and find themselves in a much better position, to the point where just a month ago, President Trump, at a meeting in New York on the edge of the United Nations General Assembly, suggested the Ukraine might actually be able to win back all of the land that it had lost during the war. At that moment, Zelenskyy described it as a potential game changer. There is so much now riding on the meeting that is about to get underway behind me. And let's just see how it all plays out in the course of the day.
Absolutely. And just remind us, in the U.S. itself, politically speaking, how is continued support of Ukraine seen?
I think it depends who you talk to. There are many people within the Republican base, many people who support Donald Trump, what we call the MAGA base, Make America Great Again campaign, who feel that the president should be focusing on America first, and he has no shortage of domestic challenges right now. For example, we're into the second week of a government shutdown here because the Democrats and the Republicans cannot agree a budget, and without that there is no finance to keep government operational. He also has his ongoing campaign around immigration that's sparking protests on the streets. And we've seen this crackdown militarily where he's deploying the National Guard to various cities. That's sparking protest too. So there are many who believe he should be looking at issues at home. But right now, he is most definitely focused on issues abroad. He's totally buoyed by what happened in the Middle East. He believes that can have a knock-on effect, a domino effect, lead to peace in Ukraine as well, but they are remarkably different conflicts. Of course, one is about religion primarily, the other one about geography primarily. So those are the competing issues on Donald Trump's desk right now, and across the United States, people have very different views